it is such a bummer. And I mean, such a bummer that Dallas Cowboys football is not any fun. And it is, I agree with the group, right? The whole group of you that accepting who they are is much better for your sanity, right? It's much more peaceful or leads to a life of more peace. I get that and I can reconcile that. I can logic that out in my brain. And I think you agree with this. That doesn't change how sad it is. That doesn't change how frustrating it is, right? Look, the Cowboys, for the second year in a row, were eliminated from playoff contention before Christmas, right? Like, think about that. Look, we all understand that this is a game and this is something we devote our time to and our energy to, and call it a hobby, call it a passion, call it what you want. But I think that, we all, or maybe, a lot of us, some of us, most of us, whatever, at some point in your life, in your fandom, you believed that the people involved in terms of the decision makers for this team were giving their all, giving their full and total energy with the express purpose of winning. And there is just too much data and too much evidence to counter that reality. That isn't to say that there aren't coaches and players who are doing everything they can in their own power to try to achieve those goals, but they are burdened and they are weighed down by the leadership that is the Dallas Cowboys front office. And that's what's led to this mess. And so the fact that we are forced out of logic and out of, the seeking of peace to accept that this is who they are is such a bummer. I mean, it really, like, I'm going to speak for myself here. I can square when the Dallas Cowboys lose. I can look back on certain devastating playoff losses, like the 2007 divisional round of the Giants, the 2014 Des Carter game. I can look at moments like that, and those really sucked, but they lost, right? That's just the way the game goes. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. That is something that you can logic and accept and establish some peace around in its own way. What is impossible to accept from a fan standpoint is that the front office just doesn't care, is that the front office is creating apathy on purpose, is that the front office seemingly prioritizes financial gain over on-field success. And at this point, these are things that people obviously have been saying about the Cowboys for a very long time, and I have fought against them myself. Call that naivete, call that innocence, call that whatever you want. But at this point, I think that everything kind of points in the same direction. And that's why we have to accept it. It's the overwhelming reality that we're forced to ultimately acknowledge and accept.